Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. So today I'm going to be reviewing this article that has come out in People magazine with Meghan right before her show is to air tomorrow. And this piece, I'm telling you, it is a hot mess. I mean, they're everywhere in this article, and it's a really long article, okay? So I'm going to have to make this video a little bit longer than my other videos, but I gotta go through this article and just give you some of my insight. I may end up having to make it a video to get to some of the other stuff, because there's just a lot here. There's a lot here that I want to speak about, and it's just a hot mess. And it's like, for the life of me, I cannot understand what this woman is thinking, what she is doing with this propaganda piece, because this ain't nothing but a bunch of propaganda, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. All right, so thank you everyone for, all of my new subscribers, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. When I saw this People magazine exclusive with Meghan on the cover of People talking about all of this malarkey in this magazine article, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, for real, the nerve of everything that is being spoken about in here, and what she is trying to do, the cover up, the way she's trying to paint herself as one way, when we know the reality of who Meghan is to be something completely different. And I tell you, I would have respected this so much more had she come out with this article on the cover of People and just talked about the mistakes I have made. If she had come out and talked about how she just screwed up everything, if she had just come out and laid it all bare and was really completely honest with herself, that I would have respected. But when you come out and you try to make people believe this nonsense with your swollen head, still walking crooked, I have a problem with that. Because this piece right here in People magazine is nothing but a sham, a paid for propaganda piece that wants people to believe something that is not true. So you're still going to make us feel like we're idiots. You're still going to make the reading public, who have seen all the things that have come out, you're going to make us believe this nonsense. You've got to be kidding me, okay? So look, let's just get right into it, folks, because this is a hot mess. I'm going to skip over some of the paragraphs only because it is just nothing really to offer new, because it's all in line with a lot of the things. And what I'll probably do is just do another video. I don't know, but it's just so bad. So one of the things that they first mentioned in this article that really had me just like, while I'm reading the article, I'm just like with the side eye. I mean, my neck just got turned up a little bit crooked and started hurting because of the side eye I was given to this whole article. It was just too much. Okay, one of the first things that was mentioned in here that got me was when Meghan was home after leaving the Invictus Games. And Harry, we know, was still at Invictus. Remember when Meghan left early? So this is what they say. Prince Harry is still in Vancouver wrapping up the Invictus Games. Meghan had joined him for several days, in which she stayed in close touch with her mother, Doria, checking in on Archie and Princess Lilibet, who had both gotten sick. Oh my gosh, really? We didn't hear that when she had to leave early, did we? This is news to me. And making sure that they were seen by the doctor and sipping on bone broth. It's enough to make you want to gag. I'm telling you, really? So you mean to tell me that we're hearing now that they were sick and this is why you left early? We know the truth was not that. The truth was that there were arguments, things went down in a bad way with Meghan and all of the things that problems she was causing. And she left early with no real explanation. And there was no talk about the children getting sick and having to go home. You know what? Just save the lies, please. And then she goes on to say, now she's savoring the stillness at home with Archie as he stirs awake, sleepily telling her, Mama, don't work too hard. Recalling the moment to people a few days later, the Duchess of Sussex says, it was the sweetest thing. Okay, really, Meghan? Really, he's telling you, your son is telling you not to work too hard? I want to tell you why that is a lie towards the end of this, because that line right there, it's not true because of the other things you say in this article. So let's just put a little bookmark for that piece right there, because that's a lie. That's a lie. I'm telling you right now. Okay, moving on. And I like how, in a very sarcastic kind of way, how Meghan, she tries to use the children and what they say to cover up for her, to really give Meghan kind of, a pass because the child says it. Working hard. I mean, excuse me, but you could not even do 12 episodes of your podcast on Spotify where you were actually interviewing people. How are you working hard? Really, Meghan? And you're going to use your kid to make up for something that we have seen from all the press in the past, how you work 1 hour a week for your charity? Okay, I'm going to come back to that because that right there is just something. So then it goes on and says, like any entrepreneur, Meghan has tackled the hard work of launching a new business. But unlike most, she has done so under an intense spotlight. In March of 2024, her initial brand, American Riviera Orchard, debuted online. 1 month later, jars of jam with the brand's logo began circulating amongst friends like Christy Teigen and Mindy Kaling. Then came a pause as anticipation grew. No, it didn't. The anticipation did not grow because the other jars of jam that she sent to people, they did not even return a favor by posting it on their social media. I think she was only able to circulate about 9 or 10 out of 50. So there was no anticipation. They go on to say that questions arose about when the products would be available, while behind the scenes she navigated trademark issues. And that we know to be the truth. She did navigate these trademark issues, but this is what I find interesting about that. They go on to say there are tons of twists and turns with even the name, she says in her most intimate interview in years. I was figuring it out in real time. Now look. People that figure it out in real time are people that are trying to do a business that don't have the funds to really make it work. They're just trying to figure it out. But you have people that you hire, staff people. Why are you trying to figure it out, Meghan? That's not the truth. No, the reality is that she didn't want to listen to the people that were advising her. And this is why she messed up things around the name, because she was not willing to humble herself to listen to the real people that knew, how to run businesses and the things that she had to do. So there you go. Once again, Meghan is lying and saying things that we know are not true. You don't just try to figure it out in real time when you're someone who has been within the royal family. When you have the money to hire people, you are not that kind of person that just wings it and figures it out. So this was very, very revealing to me into the psyche of Meghan, because no, she doesn't want to listen to people. And that's the part that's going to get Meghan in a lot of trouble. And it has continued to get her in trouble because she doesn't want to listen to people because she thinks she knows it all. And this right here, the copyright, the trademark people, they checked Meghan because she didn't know it all. And they had to humble her to put her in her spot, that you're not going to get that name American Riviera Orchard because you can't trademark geographical areas. And I'm sure her staff tried to tell her that. So she had mud in her face because she was not able to use that name, and then she had to go in and change the name to As Ever. So they go on to say that although she has faced intense scrutiny at every step, and that's right, she deserves it because of how she behaves, Meghan says that the experience has been defined by growth. Now, this is going to be revealing. I appreciate everyone who gave me the grace to make mistakes and figure it out, and also to be forgiving with myself through that. It's a learning curve, she says. Now, here's the thing. I always talk about learning, and I always talk about trying to be, better. When you know better, you do better. But here's the thing with Meghan. You haven't really learned what you need to learn to better your situation. You have learned from mistakes where you got checked by the people at the government that weren't going to give you a trademark. But you thought you knew it all. And you're trying to make it sound like you are learning, and there's a learning curve. Once again, not for people like you. When you hire people, when you have a bank account that allows you to hire lawyers for you to set up these kinds of businesses. The real learning has not occurred yet, Meghan. Because if the real learning had occurred with you in this People magazine article, this would not have been what you wrote about to the lady that wrote this, Erin Hill. You would have written about things that Meghan should have learned from, like how she completely left the royal family in disgrace and how she continues to do things to hurt people. That's where the real learning should have been for you, Meghan. You should have atoned for a lot of the wrongs that you have done. But you don't mention that in this article. You atone for your learning to be around setting up your business, which you should have had people hired to do these things. See, this is why this article is just nothing but a fluff piece to really blindside people that don't follow this. You're still trying to get over on people. That's what this get over on people and People magazine, mind you, because this article completely missed the mark in terms of learning. She goes on to say, as Meghan builds her brand, she also continues to expand her life in Montecito. 5 years have passed since she and Harry have made the seismic decision to step back from their royal roles in the UK and chart their own path, but their titles remain. And my question is, why do your titles remain? Why? If you are trying to separate yourself from that of the royal family by leaving the royal family, why would you even want to keep the titles? And see, this is part of your problem too. You're trying to hold on to something that has actually no meaning in America. You try to hold on to something that doesn't mean anything to us Americans. We just look at you with the side eye coming all day long with the title of Duchess of Sussex. Okay? So you're trying to hold on to something because you still want that connection to royalty, because as I'm going to explain later, that was the motive, the premise for you having this show. So no wonder you want to keep the title, because that title is there to launch you as a brand. Something that is not going to pay off for you by holding on to these titles. We would have respected you so much more had you given those titles away to launch yourself as true independent people of the royal family. But you're still trying to hold on to royalty with an umbilical cord with that title, thinking it's going to stretch all the way across the pond to boost you, to have a little bit of extra something here in America. But I'm sorry, it's not. You're going to keep falling flat by still trying to align yourself with the title, because there are people doing it better and where it means something in the United Kingdom, not in America. You're in your delusion still with this title. Okay, he goes on to say that Meghan says that the Sussex name bestowed upon her and Harry by Queen Elizabeth on their 2018 wedding day holds a deeper significance than she could have imagined before motherhood. It's our shared name as a family. And I guess I hadn't recognized how meaningful that would be to me until we had children. I love that this is something that Archie and Lily and H and I all have together. It means a lot to me. Oh, really, Meghan? Well, what about your other titles? Can we talk about your other titles that you have? There are other towns in which you could still use a name that should be meaningful to you, but you don't. What about the names of the Earl and Countess of Dumbarton, your Scottish title? And what about the Baron and Baroness of Kilkeel, an Irish title? Those would have significant meaning as well, and I think you should acknowledge all of your titles if you're going to put this fake and phony significance to the Duchess of Sussex, because that's not the only title that you have. Okay, let's just keep it real, folks. Real talk. But she doesn't. So you can go kick rocks with that nonsense, okay? She goes on to say that the Sussex name, she adds, is part of our love story. Now, does that just make you want to barf? What love story? You may tell me the Sussex name is part of your love story. Yes, your love for getting everything over on your husband, kind of a love. I mean, yeah, that title would mean a lot if you're using it to mount your independent career, because you love him to the extent that he was able to have a title bestowed upon you, so you can be independent and launch your independent career. Like, there's a deeper under meaning to the love story that Meghan is talking about. And it surely isn't the authentic, I love you, Harry, kind of a love, because there's always a catch when there's love and Meghan and Harry is concerned, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Now she goes on to say that although the couple's 2022 Netflix docuseries, The Record-Breaking Harry and Meghan, famously pulled back the curtain on their struggles within the royal family, this time there's no mention of anything royal. Harry himself makes only a fleeting appearance in the final episode, but his presence was felt behind the scenes. Now look, folks, look. This record-breaking docu-series on Netflix, where you mentioned the royals a lot, and you badmouthed the people, and you made up lies about the royal family. Yeah, it was record-breaking for you to launch your career. You see, everything that Meghan does makes sense in the context of all the stuff we have seen. All of it. You got to mix it all together. Because Meghan has launched her independent career as we sit and wait for her show As Ever to come out, Meghan, because that was the basis for every single thing that Meghan is doing, was that Netflix docuseries on Netflix where she badmouthed and threw her in-laws under a bus. The record-breaking. That all happened for this moment in People magazine and other moments. The show coming out on Netflix where she doesn't mention the royals. But you did in the beginning, because that's how you got your significance off of that lie and nonsense. And famously pulling the curtain back on their struggles. There were no struggles. It was you not wanting to follow the rules and not wanting to, yet again, not listen to people and do what you were told. The struggles you had were any struggles that anybody has marrying into another family. You had an amazing opportunity. I would have loved to have had your struggles, Meghan Markle, in the royal family. Those weren't struggles. That was just you with an attitude, not wanting to do what was told of you to do by the late Queen Elizabeth. So let's just keep it real, girl. You haven't had no real struggle. You want to talk about struggle? I can tell you about struggle. And honey girl, the stuff you experienced in the royal family was not struggle. That was you just being a spoiled brat, wanting what you wanted, like your own show on Netflix. Okay? Okay, now, she goes, well, I love the TIG, but I certainly love my husband more. Yeah, so that was the choice I made at the time, and I wouldn't have changed it for a second. Talking about her having to leave the TIG and basing her episodes off of the work that she did with the TIG. And then she goes on to say, Harry is now loving watching Meghan step back into her creative groove. My husband met me when I had the TIG, and I see this spark in his eyes when he sees me doing the thing that I was doing before we first met, she says. Okay, so here is the thing. All we really have to do is go back to the engagement interview where your whole life was around the work of service and the work you were going to be doing in the royal family. And now you're talking about how Harry is happy to see you doing what you truly love. If that were the case, you would have been doing this when you first married into the royal family. We can see that this is nothing more than you writing off of your title to do something that you always wanted to do, Meghan. You always wanted to do this. Harry is not happy to watch you doing something that you've always loved to do. You had the opportunity to continue doing things around acting or being a media person or being on television. You had this opportunity, but you weren't going to have the option of a title and all these other things that you really thought were meaningful. And this is why you turned it down and pretended that you were going to help the royals. You see, there's always an underlining truth to the things that Meghan says that you will not read in these People magazine articles because this is propaganda. You see, Meghan miscalculated and thought that she could use that title to propel her career later. She always had that option without a title to do it, but she didn't want to do it. She lied and built the foundation of this marriage to Harry on a lie. This is why it's not going to work. And this is why I'm going to tell you something about this marriage as we continue in this article. Just hold on with me, folks. Just hold on with me. And then she goes on and starts talking about the food that they have on the set and how everyone's loving it and like all this camaraderie around the crew and the food and just trying to make us feel like she is that connected person that really wants to make a family-like vibe from the shooting of the show. And once again, that comes out as being a lie too in this article. But let's continue. Now she goes on to say that everyone, this is the director Michael Steed, who worked on Anthony Bourdain's show Parts Unknown. He goes on to say that everyone has this one version of her, but she's just someone who is hustling and working and doing. This is what he said about Meghan, and this is what I think is so truthful about her. Going back to what I just mentioned about Meghan always wanting to go back to what she's doing now from the very beginning with Harry and not really truly wanting to work within the royal family and to do what was told of her. The truth is that Meghan has always been a hustler. She's always wanted to get what she's wanted to do. And that's why marrying into the royal family and creating that vision board to meet Harry was part of that hustle. One of the friends in the Netflix documentary said the exact same thing about Meghan. Meghan is that kind of person. Meghan was never about being in the royal family. And the director of this show has just given us the insight and the confirmation of things that we've always known. You don't work this hard to hustle for something that you just think of on a whim. From the moment she met Harry, it was there. It was the premise on how she met Harry, by constantly working and doing and hustling. Get that, let me get on that computer. Let's do the vision board, folks. Harry, marry him, elevate my career. Okay, I'm working and I'm hustling. Oh yeah, Michael Steed. That's what she has always done. We know. And thanks for the confirmation. Moving on. And going on to say that she sees herself as an entrepreneur and a female founder. You know, I know entrepreneurs that work very hard. Meghan is not one of them. Meghan is not someone who we have seen to be a hard worker, only because of how she has treated people on her staff. She's belittled them. She has not put in the work to do a lot of things that she was supposed to do for Spotify and for Netflix, for that matter. They haven't really put together real content. She hasn't really made money for her agent at WME. Where is the working hard? Where are all of the things that she has done that has been successful? She works hard at hustling to try to take the shortcut, like Mary and Harry. It's not hustling for the real meaning of the work and what it requires. It's hustling, like really hustle. Trying to take the side view, the side alley to where she's trying to go. It's not meaningful. It's not legitimate. It's not really what she wants you to think it is. It's a fake. It's misappropriation of information to make it seem like that which it is not. Chinese food delivery is a favorite, but even when I get takeout, I will try to plate it beautifully. She encourages others to strive for balance, not perfection, despite her show's beautifully imagery. The series is about doing what you can do and doing it with love. Okay, now you know what, Miss Meghan Markle? Don't tell us you're doing anything with love, and certainly don't try to name your show with the word love in it, because you have shown everything but love in the things that you have done. Trying to plate food that you buy at a Chinese restaurant, trying to plate it beautifully is just you trying to cover up the fact that you did not really make the food. That's your premise. You try to cover up and make things look like they're pretty and nice, like when you say with love, but behind it, it's a lie. Just like you didn't make that Chinese food, right? But you're going to plate it beautifully. Just like you're going to make it look like in this People magazine article that you're nice and with love and doing things with love and with love and with love. But behind all of that is nothing but a bully. Somebody who is very mean to people. Somebody who was investigated for being a bully in the royal family. Somebody who has yet to reach out to their own loving father to find out how he is doing after his strokes and a heart attack. That's not showing real love. So that's exactly right, Miss Meghan. You have been truthful. How you try to make things look like one thing, but the truth is always in the back that you try to cover up. You see how you can bring out the truth in something unintentionally? And that's what she has done in this article, because that's what we see in Meghan's behavior. Then they go to talk about their private world in Montecito. Once again. So Meghan's Montecito community has gotten to know her from school drop-offs and playdates with Archie and Lily. They have become essential. Now let me just tell you something, folks. This woman could not even show common courtesy to the neighbor who came to her home and wanted to give her some information about the area of Montecito, wanted to welcome Harry and Meghan to the community by giving them some insight into the history of Montecito. And what happened when he did that? He talked about how rude and very ungrateful Harry and Meghan were when he wanted to come over and introduce himself. They did not want to spend any time with this man. They didn't want to give him the time of day. There was an article that came out that talked about that. So how can you tell us that the Montecito community have gotten to know you when you could not even try to even get to know your next door neighbor? And how rude and nasty you were to this man, because you have a very uppity attitude towards people who you think are beneath you. Your past has shown us the reality of that. Then she goes on to talk about how she hosted this little camp, this winter break long camp, had several days where different families came into their home. They were able to get to know the parents better. All of the kids could play. Meghan set up these obstacle courses and face painting. It was a dream, she says. But I know that's being part of a community. What being a part of a community means, you put in the effort. Now, who believes that Meghan has opened up her doors to other kids with playdates and trying to get to know other people? And there was nothing leaked, no photos, nothing. I can tell you, in my opinion, that's a lie. You are hermits in your home. People have talked about it. You never come out into the community. Nobody has known anything about you. Once again, Meghan is lying. There have been many articles that talked about that. She talks about friendships with other moms, getting to know them through their school ties. You know, all of these things that we know are not true. They're not true. And this is the danger of someone like Meghan, because she cannot recognize the wrongs that she has done, but she wants to continually paint a false narrative of lies. Why would Archie then say to you, don't work too hard? Because this is sprinkled throughout the article, how she is doing all these things for kids, planning parties, cooking for her family, doing all of these things, but yet her son says, don't work too hard. How would your son know you're working too hard? A kid of 5 years of age knows nothing but, oh, okay, mom and dad are not around, I'm off to go play. A child would not know working too hard. That is above a 5-year-old's concept of work and too hard. How can they balance what a hard worker is and someone who doesn't work hard? You see how there's a contradiction between Meghan saying that she's doing all these things for her children and for the community, but we know that she doesn't really do these things, but she wants us to believe that her son says she's working too hard. If anything, her son's going to say, Mama, stop hustling. Stop hustling, Mama. Just stop doing it. We want to just have a regular life. Now, if she said that, I'd believe it. But of course, that's not what Archie said. So going on, I'm just going to go down to this last part of the paragraph where she says, being able to have my own little girl, as I've spent so much of my life championing the rights of girls and women, and to be able to see this as a multi-generational story. She goes on to say, I hope that when they get old enough, they can feel proud that they were a part of the beginning of this with me, meaning her show. Talking about always having time for her kids when they come on the set, or, you know, Harry's always around, even though he's not in front of the camera, he's behind the camera, like talking about this is the legacy and how this is meaningful for the kids to see their mama working. And this is what the problem is with Meghan and this whole section on the legacy. Meghan's legacy was being a part of the royal family. Meghan's legacy was so much bigger than her just being a mom in Montecito. She could have been a part of the legacy of both her and her husband as a working mother in the United Kingdom. But that is no longer the legacy of these children, because Meghan's legacy for her kids is all about what she thinks their legacy will be based on what Meghan is doing, and nothing to do with the husband. You see, Meghan coming out and speaking about the legacy of her family, the children will have this long-lasting legacy of Meghan working hard for women and girls. And of course, Archie's included in that. And of course, Harry is included in that. Harry is supposed to be a prince from the United Kingdom, the son of Princess Diana, the son of King Charles. But you scratched that off. That didn't matter. The legacy you speak about in this People magazine article is your legacy of being in front of the camera, having your children experience you being a working, hustling mom. That right there shows you Meghan is not including Harry in this legacy. This legacy is about what Meghan is going to create. And that's what she wants the children to know about. Because this is also what she said. She goes, this is just the beginning. Life is full of surprises. And my gosh, in 10 years, Archie will be driving. Yes. And this is what I have to say about how time flies, Meghan Markle, and what you just said here. You said life is full of surprises. And all I have to say is that, yeah, they sure are. And Harry, you need to get ready for your surprise, because your surprise is going to be coming too. Meghan just told us in this People magazine article that really didn't highlight him or his legacy. She talked about herself and how everything, even Harry, the son of King Charles. They're all supposed to revolve around you and a working mother. You have missed the boat, Meghan Markle, with this article. You have missed the true meaning of what you should have been writing about in this article. And like I always say, it should have been about the mistakes you made when you came into working for the royal family, because that is where your true legacy should have been and where the legacy of your children should be right now. But it's not. Meghan Markle, you have missed the boat. Just like you're going to continue to miss the boat until you recognize the learning curve is not about starting a business. The learning curve is really learning about how you made so many mistakes and connived your way into where you are right now. That is the true learning curve you should be speaking about. But you're not. Harry, get ready, because yeah, your surprise is going to be coming too. Meghan just told you in this article. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.